if there isn't already someone over here developing, you're going to take these tongs and just put them right back on this hook, or hand them to someone. Do not ever dip the developer tongs into the stop bath or vice versa. If you see someone doing that, tell them to stop, take the tongs, bring them to me. If you do that, if you accidentally dip the stop in the developer or developer in the stop or something like that, stop what you're doing, bring the tongs to me. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm actually going to be happy with you that you caught yourself, even if you already did it, that you stopped doing it and that you brought it to me. The reason this is important, especially with stop and developer, is stop bath stops the developer from working. So if it weren't for the stop bath, and the stop bath you just drop it in for 30 seconds, you can even just kind of estimate that and you're fine. But it neutralizes developer. So as you can imagine, you wouldn't want people taking stop bath tongs and getting them all wet with stop bath and dropping them into the developer. Eventually the entire developer is going to be stopped. After about 30 seconds, you're good to dig it out, which is a lot easier when it's actually floating in a chemical. Drizzle it off a little bit. You're going to drop it into the fix. You're going to return the stop bath tongs to the little hook that they're on. And then it does say stop here. So 10 minutes or more. You do not have to stand here for 10 minutes. In fact, even people who are maybe mildly claustrophobic generally don't have that rough of a time. This is a pretty small enclosed space, and especially it does get a little crowded in here sometimes, although only you or your partner should ever be in here at a time. As discussed in class, you're going to kind of trade roles. But you do not, I would not want anyone standing here at the fix waiting for 10 straight minutes. Basically, it can go way more than 10 minutes. I did leave it in over a weekend once, and it seemed to start tenderizing the paper and kind of eating away at it and turning it brown. So I make sure that either halfway through the day or at the end of the day, I take everything out of the fix and put it in the water. And that washes it once again. As far as what the fix does, you're essentially staining the paper. Like any kind of art, you're making a mark on the paper using the chemical emulsion that was embedded in the paper, and then using the other chemicals that affect that emulsion. The fix, what that does is like it sets the stain, essentially. It affixes the image to the paper so it doesn't like just fade back away. Once again, when you drop it in the fix, you're pretty much done. It is a very good idea to take the fix tongs, and this is why they're here. Again, you're not going to stand here with it, but it is a very good idea, just every time someone drops this in here, to take the fix tongs and kind of poke it down, stir it around, stir everyone's around just a little bit, just for a few seconds. And then drizzle off the tongs, put them back, and then you might as well reload your paper at that point. As long as you didn't get any of the chemicals on your hands. If you did, not only do you want to not handle the paper, but you also want to wash them as soon as possible. Again, they're not so unfriendly that you have to run screaming out of the darkroom and tear down the curtains. But if you do get it on your hands, number one, keep repeating in your mind, don't touch my eyes, don't touch my eyes, and make sure you don't. And then number two, when you do finish, you then exit the darkroom without loading and wash your hands really, really good. Scrub them down really good with soap and water. Once again, I mentioned like if you're claustrophobic or uncomfortable, again, it's not like you would ever be spending the whole period in here. In fact, you figure the first time you come in here, you're going to be in here for about 30 seconds to a minute, just loading the paper, which might take you a little more time the first time, because you're remembering how to do it. But the first time you load the paper, that's all you do, so you're pretty much in and out. It is worth noting the very first time everyone's going to be in line for loading the paper, so that's going to take a little bit longer. It's going to just be more waiting in line. But as we progress throughout the project, the next day, the day after, different people will be at different stages. You might finish one period having loaded it but not taken a picture yet, so you start the next day by just going out and taking your picture. Or you might have finished by taking your picture and be ready to start the next day with the chemicals. So after the first day, it gets a lot less tedious. But when you do come in here to process, you basically come over here, open it up. You've got 2 minutes in the developer, 30 seconds in the stop bath, maybe another 30 seconds to drop it in the fix and stir it around. and then maybe yet another 30, which would put you at still less than 4 minutes to reload the paper and then exit the darkroom. The only other thing is, once again, if you get the chemicals on your hands, wash them. If you get them in your eyes, that's a little more serious. Or if there's like an open wound or something like that, talk to me about that. In general, if you know you have like an open cut on your hand or something like that, I can give you a glove or a Band-Aid to keep it covered, and you should be fine. But if you do get it in your eyes, that's a little more serious. It's, again, not the end of the world, and we have an eye wash station. So we're going to end, again, hopefully you don't get too nauseous. We're going to come back through here. We're going to yell, "I'm coming out!" And we're going to go like this. We are once again going to let the door close before we open the curtain. Oops. Bump the camera there. And then we're going to come over here to the eye wash station. Actually, I'll get it from this angle. Eye wash station is right here. And basically, you can always come out of the darkroom and say, "Help, Mr. Ehlen, I need to wash my eyes," and I'll take you over to it and kind of help you. Even if you're blinded, if you kind of, put your hand on here and find your way over here, it's not going to blind you, but I'm just saying if you don't want to open them because you know the chemical's stuck in there. You find your way over here and find your way to this panel. And basically, there are these little caps on this, but you hit this panel and they pop off. So at that point, you just stick your eyes down there and wash them out. Let them flush significantly, and let me know if you're using the eye wash station. Otherwise, please don't play with it. This looks like it. Yeah, don't play with the eye wash station. Only use it if you need to. It's not going to set off any alarms or anything. I've never had anyone desperately need to use the eye wash station. I had someone once who was marginally concerned that she might have gotten it in her eyes, and therefore we just used it and she was perfectly fine. That concludes the darkroom tour. Please let me know if you have any questions. Excuse me, you can always go back to this video, especially in terms of reloading. A lot of the instructions, again, are posted in the darkroom, and those aren't going to go away. But as far as loading, you might want to revisit this that part of this video. Otherwise, have fun, and I hope you come up with some great pictures.